I'm just literally going to give you the roadmap. Now, I will say it's maybe not 100% beginner friendly. It is high level concepts because look, beginner friendly would be 0 to 10K a month. Whereas this video right here is literally going through exactly how you can get to 50,000 a month with your agency. And actually at the very end, you'll see how it all ties in together and how you can actually really use exactly what we go through to get to 100,000 a month. Now, the concepts that I discussed in this video are actually pulled from my high level program, which is called Centurion Agency. And that's a program where I basically take agency owners around about the 10,000 a month mark, and we scale them up to around the 80 to 100,000 a month mark with their agency. And as I say, these concepts that I go through in this video are pulled directly from that program. Now, if you are interested in getting into that program, you're at, the 10,000 a month mark, 15,000 a month mark, maybe you're only at, 6 figures. So, 7, 8,000 a month, whatever it is. If you're interested in seriously getting to 80 to 100,000 a month with your agency, like genuinely, you're very, very serious, then I'm going to leave a link below for you to book in a call directly with myself, where I'll, it's not a sales call. I don't believe in sales calls. I'll basically just walk you through exactly what Centurion Agency does and why it works so well and how you kind of can't fail with it, right? And again, I'll show you why and how that works on a call. So if you're interested, I'll leave the booking link below in the video description. Go ahead, book in a time, and we'll speak on that call. But aside from that, let's jump straight into this video where I'll give you the roadmap to take your agency to 50,000 a month. Now guys, as always, I'm providing more value than majority of people actually charge for, right? I'm providing that exact same amount of value, probably more, completely for free. Now, all I ask in return is that you actually go ahead, smash the like button on this video right below, and also you subscribe to the channel. I'm seriously giving away more value for free than most charge for. Now, that's not me just saying that and just being nice about it. That's genuine facts, right? I get it. I get so many people tell me this. So as I say, all I ask in return is that you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss out on any of this value that I'm giving you. So like a previous video that I actually recently did, it seemed as though a lot of you guys really liked it. It was the how to book 20 meetings a month with your SMMA. I did some iPad drawings, and I'm going to do the same again for this video because it's super important that I really detail exactly what I mean and literally provide you with a roadmap, right? Like physically and visually. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to start with the math behind 50,000. There's no point trying to hit 50,000 by doing these different tactics if you don't actually know the numbers and the math behind hitting it. It's super important that you understand that so that you know what numbers you need to be doing and hitting in order to get to that goal, right? So let's do the math and let's do the math in a way where we're always looking at worst case scenario. I think that's the best way to operate, because if you're always going off a best case, then you're trying to shoot for the best results possible, and sometimes the best results possible don't happen. So if you're always working off of worst case scenario and you obviously do well based off of worst case scenario numbers, then if things do go well, then it's going to be an added bonus and you're going to shoot straight past 50K, all right? So let's look at the math. So basically the math is of 50,000 a month. It comes down to obviously number of clients and billable per client. So if you've got 5 clients, right? 5 clients at 10K a month, there's your 50, right? That's your 50 a month. Now, if we take that to 7 clients, now each client only needs to be at 7.1K per month, okay? And there's your 50. Now, if we go off of 10 clients, obviously now all we need is a 5K per month billable per client, and that's your 50. So that's the math right there. So again, as I mentioned before, let's go off worst case scenario, which is this scenario right here, right? Because as I say, we could go, technically we could go off of one client paying 50,000 a month, but the likelihood of that happening is not that high. So as I say, let's go off of worst case scenario. So 10 clients at 5K a month equals your 50,000 a month. That's the math. Now, let's have a look at how do we get 10 clients? Like, let's actually look at some closing rates, some outreach numbers and whatnot in terms of meetings booked and how many meetings you need to book and all that type of stuff. So if you was to book, right, 3 meetings per week, again, we're going off of worst case scenario. So 3 meetings per week, by the way, isn't a lot whatsoever. But even if you was able to book 3 meetings per week, that equals 12 per month, right? Now let's assume that you have a terrible, and I'm talking terrible, close rate of 20%, okay? 20% close rate on these calls, okay? So now let's look at the meetings per month and how that's going to translate into clients per month. So 12 meetings per month at 20% close rate. So we'll go 12 times 0.2, right? That equals roughly 2.4, I believe. So again, worst case scenario, we will round down. So there's 2 clients per month. So 2 clients per month. Every single month, you're going to sign 2 clients per month because you book 12 meetings, right? 12 meetings, and you have a 20% close rate. Again, 12 meetings a month is not a lot, okay? And a 20% close rate is, again, not very high. But worst case scenario, 12 meetings per month, 20% close rate gives us 2 clients per month. So let's have a look at this, how this plays out over the long term, okay? So in month 1, you got 2 clients. And if we are billing our clients this 5K per month, and I'm gonna get into how you can do this, right? Because this is the most important part, right? Like, it's all well and good me saying just bill your clients 5K per month, but how do you actually do that? Well, we're gonna go into that here in a minute, right? But let's just say month 1, 2 clients. So there's your 10K, right? So your 10K per month in month 1. Now let's have a look at month 2. 2 more clients, right? So plus 2. Now we're at 20K, 3, 30K, 4, 40K, and 5, 50K. So theoretically, after 5 months of booking 12 meetings a month and having a 20% close rate and billing those clients 5,000 a month, at month 5, you're gonna be at 50,000 a month. Really not that hard when you break it down, okay? Now, obviously, it's very easy for me to just say, just sign 2 clients a month, bill them 5K each, and you'll be at 50,000 a month in month 5. Very easy for me to say that. But let's actually break down how you can go about billing clients that amount. Because to be honest, to be very frank with you, if you go ahead and watch that how to book 20 meetings per month video that I did that I referenced previously as well, you'll see that it's actually not that hard to book 20 meetings a month, right? It's really not that hard. And to be honest, I personally think that's not where most people struggle with when building an agency to the 7-figure level. I know we're talking about 50,000 here, but as I say, at the end of the video, you'll see how all of this plays into the fact that you can actually use this to get to 100,000 a month very easily, right? In order to get to that level, booking meetings has to be there. Don't get me wrong, you have to book meetings routinely and you have to have a consistent lead flow. But in order to get that consistent lead flow, it's not that hard, and it's not where most agency owners go wrong. Most agency owners think that's their problem, right? Obviously, as I said before, a lot of people are super interested in Centurion Agency because the offer is so amazing, and the program, it actually gets you to 80K a month, 100K a month. Like, it actually does what it says, and the price that it's priced at is like 1/10 of the outcome that you can get, right? So it's a no-brainer. But my point is, almost every single person who I hop on a call with, they think their issue is lead gen. And sometimes that's true, but majority of the time it's not true. The majority of the time, the issue lies within their billables and how much they can actually bill their client. Most of the time, they can physically only bill their client 2, 3K a month. So they've got to have 10 clients to get to 20, 30 grand a month, right, on those billables. Whereas actually, if you actually work on the service delivery side of it and your team building side of your agency, the side that actually matters, right, you could have those 10 clients, but you could be pulling in 100K a month because you're billing each client 10,000 a month, right? And in this case, we're billing each client 5,000 a month, so we can be at 50,000 a month with just 10 clients, which is very, very small in the grand scheme of things, right? So let's actually get into like how we can bill our clients 5,000 a month. 5,000 a month is, again, if you do things correctly and you follow this video. And again, 5,000 a month, actually, if you do things correctly, you follow exactly what I detail in this video. And also, if you book in a call below, as I said before, and I show you what Centurion Agency has to offer, then actually billing your client $5,000 a month is very, very easy, like very, very easy. But again, worst case scenario. So let's get back into it. So as I say, what's the common denominator, right? For these numbers above, what's the common denominator that has to be in place? That's the common denominator, right? You must be able to bill your clients 5,000 a month because you may have the same amount of clients, right? In this case, we've got 10 clients. You may have those same 10 clients, but if you're only billing them 1,000 a month, then you're only going to be at 10 grand a month, right? So you must be able to bill them a minimum, right? A bare minimum of 5,000 a month right there, right? So how do we do that? Well, it comes down to, as I'm probably sure you've guessed, right? I'm very, very big on this because it's literally the make or break of an agency, right? But it comes down to service delivery right here. Service delivery. This is what it comes down to. This is what you must have in play. Now, what is service delivery made up of? Well, it's basically made up of, in my opinion, it's made up of 3 pillars. Okay, 3 pillars is what makes up a very, very strong back-end service delivery process. Pillar number 1 is vetting, hiring, ramping, training. And these technically aren't in, apart from the third one, apart from this pillar right here, it's these first 2 aren't in a specific order, but you get the idea, right? So pillar 1 is vetting, hiring, ramping, and training. So this is bringing on team members. This is where we bring on team members. I'm going to break each pillar down here in a minute and really show you why it's so important to have this in place, right? So pillar 1 is that, right? So pillar 2 is productization, right? If I've spelled that wrong, do not hit me up in the comments. As I say, pillar 2 is productization. which is basically SOPs, okay? And again, this is why I'm saying this is high level stuff. If you're just starting out, if you're at 0 a month with your agency, do not worry about looking at SOPs and productizing the entire agency. Don't worry about it because you don't need to at that level. But if you are at the 5, 10, 15K a month with your agency and you feel like you're at the glass ceiling, maybe you're even at 30K a month with your agency and you still feel as though you're at that glass ceiling, you can't break through, then this is the reason why, okay? So productization is pillar number 2 when it comes to service delivery. And then as I say, I'm going to break these down even more here in a minute. And then pillar 3, okay, is mission, principles, culture. Now, you may be thinking, what does this have to do with service delivery? Well, you've got to think, okay? You've got to realize that service delivery for your agency is a byproduct of your team. The effectiveness of your service delivery, the results that you're able to generate your clients is not about how much you know or this or that. It's not about that. It's about the output of your team. The output of your team depicts the results of your service delivery because the two are basically exactly the same. The reason you hire a team for your agency is so that they work on service delivery. So if the output of your team isn't high, then the service delivery, the effectiveness of your agency overall, client results, etc., it's not going to be high. And so consequently, you're only going to be able to charge your clients a certain amount. And this is what I'm getting at. You cannot charge clients 5K a month, 6K a month, 10K a month, 15K a month. You physically cannot charge them that if you only bring them in 1,000 a month profit, if you're only bringing them in 5,000 a month profit, and you will be only doing those numbers if your team isn't effective, right? If your team output isn't high. So this is why this is so important, right? So let's break down each one of these pillars and really show you exactly what it is that I mean. So I'm actually going to start with pillar 2 because when I explain it, you'll see why, right? So I'm going to start with pillar 2, which is this pillar right here, productization and SOPs. So pillar 2 is productization. And we use SOPs to do productization, okay? So why this is so important is because number 1, it removes emotion. And number 2, it incorporates feedback loops into your service delivery process, which further makes it impossible to not have a top tier service if you do things correctly. Now, let me explain exactly what it is that I mean. And these two here basically feed into each other as well, right? So what I mean by this is that, let's say, for example, X happened, right? And again, I'm going to give you a real life example, but here's basically the formula for it. If X happened, so this is how this plays out, okay? So let's, for example, say that, you know, there's an event, right? X is the event. So X equals some sort of event. And then from that event, there's a decision to be made, okay? So this decision, depending on the output of the decision, depends on what you do next. So if this decision is yes, so it's positive, right? It's what you want. So this event has produced the results that you want, then it's obviously yes. And then from there, obviously you can start to look at maybe ramping potentially or whatever it is, right? There's so many different variations of these where maybe, you know, ramping doesn't make sense, but you get my point. You can then kind of continue tripling down on that event. You can then ramp up that event, whatever it is. But if the answer is no, it's negative, the event that you've done hasn't produced the desired result, then it's fine because, and the reason being is because we're using feedback loops. So if the outcome is negative, it's the outcome that we wanted from the event isn't in line with what we wanted, then it's completely fine because then we just go back to X, right? And we then iterate, okay? So in this section here, then we iterate on X, and then we go back through the same thing, and then we ask ourselves the decision. Okay, now after this first iteration or the second iteration, is the outcome what we wanted? Yes, perfect, ramp. No, okay, perfect. We just repeat this section right here. This is why it's so important, and this is what removing emotion does. And this is a byproduct of removing emotion. If you've got an emotion attached to this, then you're going to make wrong decisions. Any emotionally charged decision is never a good one. So by having these feedback loops in place, having a productized agency, if we do this and we don't get the desired event, then do this, then go do this, then this and this. That's what an SOP is. It's a standard operating procedure. And certain times people use SOPs for very, very basic stuff, right? How to send an invoice. Well, we send invoices by doing this. How to set up a client in the back end. Obviously, if you're part of Centurion Agency, I give you guys my entire SOPs. You guys get all of my exact SOPs and you just simply apply those to your own agency. But the reason it's so powerful is because, as I say, it removes emotion and it forces you to operate off the back of feedback loops. Now, I understand that sometimes, you know, being very structured structured like this may actually not be overly helpful, but for the most part, it's going to remove emotion. There's always events, situations where you do need to actually apply some sort of different approach or whatever. You need to kind of break outside of that standard procedure. But for the most part, these are absolutely vital to have in place. So, it's not really applied to a real life situation. So I want to apply this idea right here to a real life situation and when this actually works, and really just show you, as I say, in a real life situation. Now, so here's a real life situation where this actually works. Now, bear in mind, guys, I want to apologize for my terrible handwriting. Very hard to write on an iPad. And also, I just naturally have bad handwriting, so I want to apologize for that. But let's get into a real life situation of when we can actually use, productization, SOPs, feedback loops, and removing emotion, etc. Okay, so using this idea right here, this idea is super important, right? So we've got event, decision, and then we've got an outcome, and then depending on that outcome depicts on what we do next. So the event in a real life situation could be you launch a new service delivery process, right? So we launch a new service delivery process, and so that's the event. Okay, that's the event. Now the decision is this section here. So the decision in this case is, does it inject at least $50,000 a month into client's bottom line? Meaning this new service delivery process in this scenario, does it inject at least $50,000 per month to your client's bottom line in terms of, purchase conversion value minus ad spend? Is that number at least $50,000? If it is, then what we now do, as you can see here, okay, yes, perfect. Now we ramp, now we use this for all clients. Now we, we've got a proven serve and delivery process. So we do whatever makes most sense next. However, this is what's most important. If it doesn't work, then we pull from the data, right? This is going to give us a lot of data. We're going to learn a lot from implementing this for clients. So we're going to pull from that. We're going to pull what we can, and we're going to say, no, that's completely fine. And then we instantly go back to the top and we relaunch. And then we go back to this section. Does it work? Yes, perfect. No, okay, we go back to the top again. This is why it's almost impossible to not get to certain numbers when you follow the right roadmap, you implement the right feedback loops, you follow the correct procedures. It's almost impossible to not eventually get to that point. Sometimes it's going to take longer, right? If you don't know what you're doing, then you're going to have to go through a lot more of these feedback loops. You're going to have to go through a lot more of these iterations, but eventually you're going to get there. So it's almost impossible to not eventually get to 50,000 a month or 100,000 a month. And so that's what happens when you follow the right roadmap. You're going to decrease that time because you're basically going to instantly, straight off the bat, implement on, for example, in this case, basically straight off the bat, you're going to implement on a service delivery process that's proven. So when you get to this section here, you're really, maybe you need to go through it 3 or 4 times, but you're going to get to this section where it works very, very quickly, and you're going to be able to ramp pretty much instantly, right? Whereas if you don't follow the correct procedures, then you're gonna have to go through this section a lot of times. Now you have to be willing to do that because it does happen, but you get my point, right? So eventually it's you're gonna get to 50,000 a month, for example. This is just one specific feedback loop. This is just one SOP, and actually part of the Centurion agency, this is just one subsection of an entire SOP, an entire feedback loop. This is just a small feedback loop inside of the big one. And again, if you are part of Centurion agency, obviously you guys get all of my SOPs, all of my feedback loops and whatnot to get to 50,000 a month, which is again why I say, if you join, it's very, very hard to not get to 50,000 a month, at least bare minimum, but more so 80 to 100,000 a month. So again, if you are interested, please go ahead, click the booking link below, and it's going to enable you to book in a call with myself directly. I'll walk you through exactly how we go about getting the results we do, because again, I'm not about selling you. If you don't think it's going to help you, I don't want you as a student. If you don't think it's what you need, if you don't think it's the vehicle that's going to get you to 50, 60, 70, 100,000 a month with your agency, it's completely fine. There's no direct selling. But if you do think it is, which it is, right, then obviously that's when I'll go through kind of what we have to offer. And actually right now it's the best time to get in, because the offer that I've got a hybrid offer where it's like a private mentorship with me. At the moment of recording this video, there's this super juicy offer, whereas in a couple months that offer is going to go away, and actually the price is going to increase. So right now is the best time to get into the program, but I don't want to touch on that too much. Let's get back to this. Okay, so that's a real life situation of a feedback loop, and how we remove emotion to basically guarantee ourselves a certain level within our agency, right? That's the first stage, right? Productization, and we use SOPs to do so. So now let's go back and let's now have a look at this section right here, okay? Which is vetting, hiring, ramping, and training. So as I say, the next thing is vetting, hiring, ramping, and training. So this is where we now look at basically bringing on our team members and essentially our soldiers, right? Now, one thing to note, one very, very important thing to note is that feedback loops only work if you complete them more than the next person. Right? A feedback loop is not going to work if you just go through it once. That's not the idea of a feedback loop, right? As you can see here, launch new service delivery process. If we was just to do one new service delivery process and we was to ask ourselves this question here, we came to a decision where actually, no, it's not doing as well. Well, then if we just don't complete it any more times, then we're gonna have a service delivery process that simply doesn't work, right? That's the bottom line of it. So as I said, feedback loops only work if you complete them more times than the next person. The reason why I say the next person, what I'm referring to there is basically competition. If you keep going through this feedback loop, right, you keep going through, and you complete it more times than your competition, then you are, because look, at the end of the day, what we're doing here, right, this section right here is we are just iterating, right? That's what we're doing. We're iterating in this section, so it becomes better and better and better and better every single time. So if you keep going through that loop and you make your service delivery process better and better and better, then what you can start to do here is you can actually remove this, right? This 50K per month here, you can actually remove that. And now you can make the decision of 100K per month, for example, right? So if the only way you'll be able to do that is if you keep going through and you make it better and better and you eke out as much as possible. And by that point, because you've completed the feedback loop more times than the next person, more times than your competition, you become far more sought after. You just naturally become a far more effective agency. Now, in order to do so, what this requires is hiring your soldiers. So this is where hiring your soldiers comes into play. Now, what happens, right? When you have a good soldier, you have a good team member, what happens now is they have a look at these feedback loops, right? X, Y, Z. Now, what they do, a good soldier will complete this. They'll just keep going round and round and round and round and round, right? And they'll do that for feedback loop 1. They'll do that for feedback loop 2, right? Right, they'll do that for feedback loop 1, they'll do it for 2, they'll do it for 3, they'll do it for everything. They'll do it for absolutely everything. And again, as I said, this is how you become a far more effective agency, because the more times you complete a feedback loop, the more iterations you're making, which means the more you're eking out of whatever that process is. Usually for the team member, for your soldier, it's gonna be the service delivery process. So how can you get the absolute best possible results? Now, bear in mind, all of this that we're doing here, everything that we're doing goes back to the original idea, which is remembering what that I said. What is the common denominator between getting to 50,000 a month, right? What's the common denominator between every month and everything that you need to have in place? What's the common denominator? Well, that is that you must be able to bill your clients at least 5,000 a month. Using this as an example, bear in mind we're using worst case scenarios. So if you can make this 5,000, if you can make this 5K, 10K, right? Well, then now you only need 5 clients, right? And again, I'm going to get into here in a minute how you can actually use this to get straight to 100K a month, but you get the point. And so what all of this is doing is exactly that. It's getting to a point where you can comfortably bill clients top amount. And without this, you can never, ever, ever get to 50K a month or 100K a month or a 7-figure agency overall. You physically can't do it. I promise you, right? I can't make too many guarantees because there's so many moving parts, but the one guarantee that I can make is that if you don't focus on your service delivery, you will never have a 7-figure agency. So this section here, and so what I mean by this as well is that the right soldier, the correct soldier is going to do this. And this is what you need to, this is where your SOPs come in play, okay? So productizing your agency. So when you hire somebody new, you've got SOPs there. They just go straight into it. They've got, you've productized everything within your agency, so you can hire and ramp people very, very quick. Usually it's going to take somebody, maybe 6 months to ramp a complete, not beginner, but like somebody who's brand new to your organization. It's usually probably takes somebody 6-7 months to ramp them into a fully trained 100% executive media buyer, senior media buyer, whatever it is, right? Whereas if you've got these things in place, you can really decrease that lead time down to like 2-3 months, which is why it's so important. And again, it goes back to competition. If it only takes you 2-3 months to ramp a media buyer, whereas your competition, it takes them 6 months, well, then you can move 50% quicker than your competition, which means you can start to steal the market share a lot quicker and all that type of stuff, right? And again, then if you do hire the correct people, so as I say, not only that, right? Not only if you do things properly, if you productize your agency properly, you go through this process properly. Again, this is Centurion agency stuff. This is high level stuff, but you get the point. Then you can move 50% quicker because that lead time that it takes for ramping a complete new employee of your organization is going to be 2 times as quick. But also, if you hire the right employees, you go through the process correctly, then that means that those soldiers, those employees, those team members are going to go through these processes a lot quicker, which obviously you know now the outcomes that this has, right? You're going to become a far more effective agency because you're iterating, you're eking out as much results and return and effectiveness and efficiency as humanly possible from your processes, which is going to make you a far more effective agency owner and agency overall, okay? So moving on to the third and final pillar, which is this pillar right here, okay? Mission, culture, and principles. Now, one thing I want to mention is that if any of you have watched any of my videos, you're in any of my programs, Quantum Leap Ecom Agency, which is obviously the 0 to 10K a month, which is obviously the program that takes complete beginner agency owners from 0 to 10, 15K a month, or Centurion Agency, which obviously you guys know, or you've just consumed all my free value and free content on this YouTube channel. My point is that if you've watched me for any length of time, you'll know that I'm not a big advocate of, like, you know, those mindset stuff where like you tell yourself you're amazing and, you know, that means that then your work is going to be amazing, and you tell yourself you like yourself and then you're going to operate in a much better way. You guys know I don't like that stuff, right? I like the hard practical stuff. Now, I think maybe, right, I know this isn't true, but maybe you have a preconception that, like, for example, mission, culture, and principles and stuff like this, right? I keep using the rubber, I apologize, but yeah, stuff like this, right? It follows a little bit like that. Like, what's the point in having a strong mission or whatever? Who really cares about that stuff? Well, it's very, very important when it comes to building a team and building a just a team of straight savages, right? It's very, very important. I'm going to break down what each one actually means and how it's practical, and how basically you must have it in place. So what this basically does, right? What all, like, mission, vision, principles, culture, all this different type of stuff. What this does is it helps with the North Star of your agency, right? And let me explain what I mean by that. So you've got a North Star, right? Your agency should have a North Star. Again, if you're a complete beginner, if you're just starting at 0, this stuff is not going to be as useful for you just yet, right? You don't need to focus on your mission when you're just starting. If you obsess over your mission when you're very first starting, it's going to take you a very long time to ramp up. Whereas if you're already at 5, 10, 15K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, if you're already at this level, then this stuff is so vital. Trust me, it's so important. Now, let's have a look at the North Star. As I say, what this basically means is that you want everything in your agency to fuel this North Star. Now, the reason we have a North Star, right, is because of this concept right here. The quickest route from one place to another is via a straight line. It makes sense, right? If you want to go from here to here, don't go all around the houses to get there, go straight there, and that is the quickest route, right? It makes sense. Now, if everybody in your organization is going in complete different directions, then you're going to cap out very, very quickly. If somebody's thinking, oh no, we need to go in this direction, this person over here is going in this direction, these people are going, everybody's going in different directions, then you're only going to get so far, number one. And number two, if there is some sort of vision that you personally have for your agency and where you want to go, you're either never going to get there, or it's going to take a very, very long time to get there because, of just basic, I don't know if this is math or science, whatever it is, right? But if there's two sections, right? And this is where you are, right? So this is point A, and this is your vision, this is your goal, right? / goal over here. Well, if all these people are going in different directions, they don't really know what they want. Some people want to go over here, or they want to go over here, and then maybe they'll come back. This person wants to go down here, and then maybe they'll come back if you're lucky, right? But you're trying to go straight to here. Well, then, as I say, either you're never going to reach your mission because people are going like completely over in this direction, right? Everybody's going over here. Or if you do reach it, it's going to take a very long time because people are going like this, around and around and around and around, and then you'll get to it, right? It's going to take a very, very long time. Whereas if you've got a clearly defined mission, a clearly defined kind of vision, and essentially what it means is a clearly defined North Star, then what that's going to enable you to do is that not only everybody inside of your organization is going to have that one North Star, right? I should probably do here, right? That everybody inside your organization is going to be working to that one North Star, but also every action you take, thanks to principles, and again, I'm going to detail exactly what this means here in a minute. So as I say, not only does every single person inside of your organization strive towards that North Star, but also every action you take, everything you physically do inside of your agency, thanks to principles, is going to lead you towards that North Star. So, basically just ask yourself this question. This agency who operates like this, or this agency who operates like this, who do you think is going to get to their North Star quicker? Who do you think is going to grow quicker? Who do you think is going to, steal market share a lot quicker? Who do you think is going to crush their competition and essentially become the industry Goliath? Who do you think is going to get there quicker? It's definitely going to be this agency right here. And it's thanks to these 3 ideas. Which is mission, principles, and culture. Trust me, this is so important when it comes to really ramping up to the 7-figure level with your agency. So basically what mission is, right? Mission is the North Star. That's exactly what the mission is. The mission, the vision, it is the North Star. So this is basically exactly whatever this point here is. Point B, the desired state, North Star, that is the mission. Now, what principles refers to is basically principles detail how you act and operate to achieve the North Star. So principles is how you conduct yourself and how your team acts and operates. How, for example, one of our principles is client obsessed, right? What's best for the client is what's best for everybody. That's a principle. So everything that then that basically ties directly into the things that we do. If we, I don't know an example off the top of my head, but if we action on this event, is that in the client's best interest? Is that us being client obsessed, right? So principles kind of fuel and influence how you act and operate, and those principles obviously must be aligned with that North Star. If the principles aren't aligned with the North Star, then again, that's going to send people off in this direction when actually we want to be going over here to the North Star, right? So everything needs to be in that straight line towards the North Star. So that's why you always want to start with your mission, right? What are you wanting to do? What is the goal of your agency? And then from there, you can kind of funnel everything down in line with that North Star. As soon as those stars align, and that's actually kind of a coincidence, don't think of North Star and the stars aligning as the same thing. It's just, yeah, you get the point. But if those stars align between the vision, the mission, the culture, the principles, everything's aligned, then that's going to give you that direct, straight, and quickest route to your goal, right? This is why this is so important, especially to get to the 7-figure level. Again, if you're starting out, don't worry too much about this. It's good for you to know and understand. But if you're trying to get from the 5, 10, 15, 20, 30K a month mark, from that point in your agency to the 80K a month, 100K a month mark with your agency, this is what you need to do, okay? Now, let's have a look at culture. So what culture basically does and what it enables is that it enables employees to not only be intensely happy and satisfied, putting in their absolute all into your agency and working as hard as they possibly can for your agency. So not only does it enable them to be happy and satisfied doing that, but also, and this is really what a strong culture enables you to do, is that it enables your agency's vision / mission to become your employees' own mission and vision, right? And so again, going back to aligning the stars, once your agency's mission isn't just you and your vision and you trying to tell everybody what to do so you achieve that vision and mission, but rather what actually happens when you have a strong culture is that vision and mission becomes your employees' own vision and mission. So they're doing everything that they can to get to that point as well. So not only does that mean they're going to move quicker, they're going to do more work to get there, but the stars are 100% aligned. That creates that straight line from where you are to where you want to go, and that's how you can get there in the quickest time possible, right? And also, the principles that you lay out become your employees' second nature. That is just naturally now how they act. They don't even need to think about it. It's just second nature. And again, because those principles are built off the back of the North Star, they're in line with the North Star. Once your employees adopt that and it becomes second nature, again, that's where everything lines up, and it's just a direct route. It's just a matter of time directly to that North Star. Now, that's a bit on team and hiring and vetting and ramping and training and all that type of stuff. Now, let's have a look. Let's basically bring everything together. So what does 1 + 2 + 3 equal? Meaning, I don't mean physically, I mean, right? I mean these 3 pillars, right? The 3 pillars. Let's just quickly go back through. So the 3 pillars are vetting, hiring, ramping, and training, right? That's pillar number 1, plus pillar number 2, which is productization and SOPs, plus pillar number 3, which is this mission, principles and culture, right? What do all of those added together, what does that equal? Well, basically what it equals is an airtight service delivery process. Remember, what was the common denominator? The common denominator was that you could bill clients 5K a month, 6K a month, 10K a month, right? You can't just bill them and just not deliver, or bill them and only deliver, very much subpar, right? You can't do that, right? So the common denominator was, how can we bill clients like that? Well, you bill clients those types of numbers, 5K a month, 10K a month, whatever. You bill them consistently by having an airtight service delivery process in place. How do you have an airtight service delivery process in place? You combine pillar 1 with pillar 2 and pillar 3, and this is what it equals. Okay, so what happens when you have an airtight service delivery process? So what happens is, when you have a strong service delivery process, that equals a high billable per client. Now, when you have a high billable per client, that equals a low volume of clients needed to hit 50,000 a month. However, now let's have a look at a high billable per client. What happens when you combine a high billable per client and a high volume of clients? Because this case here is a high billable per client plus a low volume of clients. You can hit 50K per month, right? High billable per client, maybe it's 10,000 a month. You only need 5 clients. It's a very low, volume of clients. But what happens now when you add a high billable per client with a high volume of clients? Well, that is where you get 100K plus per month agency. That's how you can hit 7 figures with your agency. So that's it. That is how you can hit 50,000 a month with your agency. And then obviously from there, you can go on to the 100,000 per month mark with your agency. I hope this was valuable for those of you at 5, 10, 15, 20, 30K a month with your agency. If you're at that stage, I understand if you're just a beginner, it may not be the most valuable. Now, if you are at the 5, 10, 15, 20, 30K a month stage within your agency, then I can guarantee you something that's going to be far more valuable than that, right? Is by you going ahead and booking in a call below with myself directly. I'm going to walk you through exactly what Centurion Agency is. It's basically what I've gone through in this video on steroids times 1,000, okay? And I want to walk you through exactly what it is. As I say, it's not a sales call. It's a simple explanation, me figuring out exactly where you are, seeing if Centurion Agency is a good fit for you, diagnosing your situation, figuring out if Centurion Agency is a good fit for you. And if it is, I'll show you exactly what it entails and how it's kind of almost impossible if you do end up joining Centurion Agency. It's going to be very, very hard for you to not hit at least 50,000 a month with your agency, more so the 7-figure level, and 100K a month and above with your agency. So go ahead, click the link in the description. It's going to take you to the scheduler. Book in your call. You will not regret it. Even if it's not a good fit and we end up parting ways, you're going to be a lot more well off as a byproduct of that call. I can guarantee you that. So I'm very, very excited to speak with you. And apart from that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you inside of the next one.